Now, welcome back. In this video, we are going to look at one of the methods of or describing what map is. If you remember, in our previous videos, we look at the various ways that we can describe mappings. So we made introduction to what mappings are. Then look at how they can be described. We had 4 of them, and the 4 of them we have dealt with the 3 of them, and then the last one is on the graphs. Now, for a quick recap, what we looked at in the introduction or the types of or the description of mappings, we saw how we can represent mappings with diagrams, right? Mappings with diagrams, and then we looked at set of ordered pairs. We have the X column and then Y column. So going forward, I'll be more technical with this X column and Y column, and that will deal with in graphs. Then we looked at mapping with algebraic expressions, right? That's where we look at the formulas, how to derive a formula. Now the last one is on graphs. Now this graph, we look at, to talk about graph, for you to understand it better, I have to do an overview or introduction, right? Like we do always on this channel. That's CMG-MathSpace. If you are new here, this is our policy or how we go around our teaching. So we have to look at graphs, but before we do that, we have to do introduction, right? Now, for going forward, or the prerequisites that we need is, first of all, we look at one of them, which is ordered pairs, the set of ordered pairs. We use that. That's where we talk about the X and the Y values. Then in the graph itself, we will look at what is called coordinates. So I'll use the set of ordered pairs to give you a reflection, right? A summary on what the graph or they actually are. So I'll use a set of ordered pairs and then the coordinates for introduction to the mappings. And the mapping, what is expected that we'll be drawing graphs. So the graphs, to be able to draw the graph, you will need a set of items or elements, which we call the coordinates of a point. Coordinates of a point. So that is it. So now, for lack of better representation or display, I'm still going to use this. I thought I would have had a better way, but you just stick with me. So here I'm going to read, take time, the pen to explain some of the terms, but more of the talking will be more important. So now we are talking about coordinates. So coordinates basically is, if you have done geometry, you are into the field of geometry and all that, maybe understanding of math. We know some of us here, we have had introduction to that. So every point on a graph or every point in math have points. They have coordinates, right? And coordinate normally represented to X and Y. So when these X and Y come to meet at a point, which we call the perpendicular point, there is what coordinate developed or a point developed. So that is what we are talking about. So we need 2 elements, the X values and the Y values, like we saw in the set of ordered pairs. So that's basically what it is. So here, this video is going to tell you how to understand or how to derive, how to even ascertain or come up with these coordinates, the X and Y. And but that explanation will be dealt with, yes, on the graph. So that's the main idea. So now let's read. We are saying that any point in XY plane, so XY plane, I'm going to be making some improvisation here. When I go to the next page, we see these things. So we are saying X and Y plane. So X in the set of ordered pairs that we had the values on a graph, we have them in what? In lines. We have the X, that's the horizontal line, and then the vertical one. So you remember I just said that to develop a point on a graph, there should be an intersection, meeting point of the X and Y. So where they meet is that point. So that is it. So when they meet. So we are saying that in the X and Y plane can be described by a pair of A and B. So we are substituting A and B, X and Y to be A and B. That's what we mean of real numbers, where A is the X coordinate. So A is the X coordinate. So X, Y, which is also this and this. So that's what it means, right? So X and Y coordinate. So the point, which is this, P, is actually this. So this point is represented by this A and B. So that's what we are saying, the point. So the point A1, 2 is what? XY or AB. That's what we're talking about. Obtaining by drawing perpendicular lines to the X and Y values shown in the figure 6.2 at the back of the page. We'll look at that. So the numbers given describe the point P, and it is called the coordinates of P. So the coordinates are simply X and Y or A and B values. That's all. So the first coordinate is listed is called the X coordinate, and then the second coordinate is called the Y coordinate. To have X, Y, that is it. It's as simple as that. So for example, we have the points 3, 2, right? The X coordinate is 3, and then Y coordinate is 2. So that is it. So X is the first value, and then the second is the Y value. So that's why we say X coordinate is 3, and the Y coordinate is 2. It's as simple as ABC. So now, moving back to the page, we are moving on. So drawing the points A and B, AB, that is XY, on a graph is called plotting the points. So that is what's in a question. They will ask you to plot A and B, or plot X and Y on the graph. So some points are plotted, right? Some points are plotted, that is in figure 6.2. 6.2. This is the diagram that we are talking about. So be watching here when I refer to this. That is it. Now note that the point O here, this is it. This is O. And this is different from this. This is 0 and this is O. So take the note. So the point where the X and Y, so like I was talking to you about, we are talking about X and then Y. So this is the horizontal is the X, right? And then the vertical is what? Y. So where they meet, we call it origin. That is hence O, origin, right? So that is it. Now, and that origin is represented by 0, 0, 0. That's 0, 0. That is it. And it's located here at the region called the origin of the coordinate system. So X coordinate is measured along X axis, that's the horizontal from the origin O, and the Y also measured along the X axis, the Y axis, that's the vertical axis from the O. So that is what we are talking about. Right, now note, we have two sets of measurements. We have up or down of OY. So OY means O and Y, OY, right? We have OY. So it means that with the Y axis itself, it comes in two parts. So up and then down. So I'm going to leave the reading and then just speak straight. So O, from O, top is OY. From O down is OY. But this one we represent by OYI or OY1. So OY1. And then this one will be OY. That is it. So the same thing will be here. OX1, and then here will be OX. So it's as simple as that. Just to make it, to differentiate, for you to know the difference. So when we are going up is OY, going down is OY1. And when we are going left of the X is OX1, and then this place OX, right? So if I'm not able to finish, I'll continue in the next video, right? So that's basically what we are talking about. So in the same plane, we have the positive side and we have the negative side. So going up is positive. You see that the values here are positive, and then coming down, the values here are negative. The same way for the X, going to the left is what? Negative, and going to the right is negative, right? So we see that, and we know that we have dealt with integers, positive and negative whole numbers. So that's what we are representing them. So you see one thing, when we are learning, you don't learn to discard, but we learn to build up. It's a building block. Hence the admonition on this page all the time. So that is it. So we are building the integers, positive and whole number, positive and negative whole numbers. So that is basically what we are talking about. So now that we have seen the Y planes and then X planes, the next one will be to introduce you how to plot the points, these ones. So I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.